Hey everyone, I know I just was not very live there for a second, but making sure this is working on this channel, seeing if anyone's even still around. It's been over a year since I've done a live stream, and honestly, it's just been kind of crazy in that COVID happened, right? The past 2 years, like I don't even know how long it's been, long time. So there's a lot of figuring out if we're going to go out of business, what COVID meant, and mostly just kind of nose to the grindstone type of mentality. Make sure I don't lose everything we've built over X amount of years, right? And so now it's finally settling down enough. We're getting a handle on supply chains. We're getting a handle on the growth we experienced during COVID, both the ebbs and flows of that. Um, and so I thought I'd just talk about some of the questions I get, and that's what I like to do. So I'm working lately on like fixing some work-life balance so I can do stuff like this instead of just always another project, always another acquisition, or whatever we're doing into and we moved. So this is it's like another studio or another office, right? This is actually in my home. And I actually do a little bit of gaming up here every once in a while. Like I played for an hour last night. And this is my attempt to enjoy the fruits of labor of like looking at my pond and all of that. And I need to do some decorating. Obviously, there's nothing on the walls. I'm surrounded by windows, which is great because I get natural sunlight, which is very much needed for my old office where it's kind of a dungeon surrounded by nature and work, but not so much of you. So, the question I was going to answer, or at least was from Sarah Woodring, and hopefully she's here. Okay, she made it. Good. She was afraid she was going to miss out on me going live because it's been a year and there's been a couple of false starts where I'm like, hey, are you guys still around? Hey, would you want to see more stuff? And uh, and then inevitably, I would be in a situation where it's like, do I do something on this channel that makes me zero money, kind of a passion project, and it's fun, helps others? Well, at least I try to help others, not always helpful advice. Some people get very angry at my advice, so I guess I'm not helping everybody. And or do I go, oh, I got to put out this fire at work? And we've been hiring people kind of left and right over the last year. Um, a lot of good people we've hired on, a lot of training, a lot of putting things in place so that it's not really we're relying as much on tribal knowledge. And if there is tribal knowledge, getting someone like Candy who's in the chat here who works for us, making process documents. So if we need to hire more customer service people, it's not like, well, yeah, you gotta hang a left turn by the third tree that's half green, half brown. Instead you document the whole path, how to get there, how to help the customer, and that stuff's time intensive, obviously. And so even just managing that from up top and going, hey, do we have that in place yet? Is takes time. So, but the question Sarah had was, it was something to the effect of, how do we get more efficient meetings or how do I handle meetings? And I think I have a unique um, perspective on that. And mostly I don't do very many meetings. So I have to converse with a lot of my team all the time. But I only really have one standing meeting, and that's probably going to be like two now. Three, actually. I can think of three. So I have one with YouTube once a month. I have a YouTube partner, and I'm asking about what the new beta testing is, what new programs can we get in, what's the latest and greatest, how do I tackle this thing I haven't been able to achieve yet, or anything like that, right? Or whether I'm using with backend APIs, I need to talk with them so they get my developers access. So that's a standing once a month, 30-minute meeting um, that I do. I pretty much only do meetings with people who I think have time that's more valuable than mine. And I value my time very highly. Whether it's whether other people think my time is worth a lot, that doesn't really matter to me. Like, there's always a monetary value, and then there is the like your actual time off. And so for me, I know roughly every hour I sit in front of this camera and I'm on like our main YouTube channel or something like that, or maybe even someone else's YouTube channel, or I can basically produce $500 an hour as long as I want. And so I value my time as at least $500 an hour. Now, there's going to be decisions that will affect way more than that. Maybe I'm developing a product. Maybe I have to, you know, make a decision on where we invest our profits in terms of which supplier, which advertising. So there could be a lot of big decisions that need to be made. And so my other meetings though is Randy, my director of operations. So he is my second in command, and we have a standing meeting basically every Monday. Pardon me. And it's mostly to catch up what's going on. I ask questions. We go over reports. We go over analytics. We talk about what we hear back from suppliers. And usually these meetings, they're not short and sweet. Typically, they're 2+ hours because I'm blocking out, like I'm making a dedicated decision to like, okay, we're gonna have a meeting. I really got to get to the end of some of it because I don't have time to basically follow up later in the week because every day gets booked out, right? And so today there's some other things I should probably be doing, but there was nothing hard fast booked. Like I have to do a member stream later for our main YouTube channel and that kind of stuff. But no, it's kind of the Thursday is kind of like, all right, I didn't book myself. I was away at the weekend at a conference, and I didn't book myself too heavy this week, so I could recuperate. So standing meeting with Randy, and we get so deep into stuff that it doesn't work for my other methods. And I'm going to talk about my other methods and why I don't have other meetings, because I can accomplish a meeting without doing a meeting. And then there's going to be a new one where I'm meeting with basically a company we contract for our social media about just being on more platforms and all of that. And it's someone who can save me time. And that's usually, I value someone else's time if they're saving me a bunch of time or they have a skill set that I don't have time to do, like whatever that's going to be. So like, for instance, we had our garage doors replaced. I obviously was there for that. I don't know how to do it. I put value in it. I needed more garage doors, right? We have meetings all the time. But for the most part, I say no to absolutely everything. And normally even like, oh, a plumber's coming by. I try to have my wife, who basically acts as my assistant, do that kind of stuff so that I can be in the driver's seat more often, making higher level decisions. Like, not that I'm not in on those decisions, but I don't need to be the person that kind of like is waiting, like, is it good or you need help? You're good to go. And so what most of my meetings actually are I use a program called Loom. And Loom basically lets you record your screen while you're on a desktop. And sorry, too early, I guess. Normally I don't even get up this early. I get up at 10 normally. It's 9:30. It lets me record my screen. So therefore I can go over analytics. I can go over a broken part on the website. I can go over a response from someone else, right? And that allows me to film maybe 20, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. And so I get what I need to say out, right? Which I believe half of meetings, it's that cathartic, like I just need to voice my opinion, right? And when I have to do that in person with people, it wastes a lot of time because then they want to voice their whole concerns, right? And so, and if you have a meeting with 3 or 4 people, and now what would have taken me 15 minutes, now taking an hour, because everyone's, kind of got the podium, so to speak, for 15 minutes. So I record my piece, and I will email it to people that need to hear it, right? And so maybe that's me directly to Randy or Candy or Zenzo or Jimmy, someone in my team, right? Then they'll record a response sometimes, or it'll be a one-liner of like, totally understand what you meant. Great, got it, going in this new direction. Boom, moving on. But sometimes they go, ooh, yeah, I think, yeah, we should get some input though. Let me forward this email with this meeting basically in a package to someone else on the team. Now they're brought in. So we don't have to go have another meeting and bring someone up to speed. We record it. Person goes, yep, I think we need to put this person on it. That same thing does double duty for me. And then likewise, like I watched a couple of Loom videos this morning from Randy about here's an update on the progress of this and this that we had talked about earlier in the week. And what I love about this system is it really allows me to plan my time. So when I send a Loom video to someone, I say, hey, this video is 15 minutes, get back to me when you can. Same thing comes my way. Hey, this video is 3 minutes. And I go, oh, okay. So between projects or whatever I'm doing, or maybe I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna eat lunch. Great, let me queue up this video. So while most people are watching YouTube, like you guys probably are right now in the background, a lot of times, my meetings, if you will, are me maybe working on social media stuff or looking at numbers and listening to the response of a meeting. And if I need to double back on it, of like, okay, this is getting intense, it's really easy to be in a meeting. Someone's giving you a presentation, you've got PowerPoint, and you're kind of doing the, yeah, I get it, okay, And then 2 or 3 slides later, right? 2 or 3 slides later, you're going, wait, maybe I don't understand what that data was saying because this is counteractive to that. I get to rewind. Boom, rewind 2 minutes and go, okay, I see what they're trying to say here. And so it's a much more efficient way for me to work. And I probably have focused way too much on efficiency to almost to my detriment because there is something to sometimes getting that collaboration and getting to a point you didn't know you were going to go in person. But I find far more often I'm a long talker and I'll get off on a tangent and uh, all of a sudden we're, a 30-minute meeting is an hour and a half, right? But we get a lot done and it might be better off for it. But how many people are we holding hostage with meetings? And that's what I try not to do is like let everybody keep working. And then also there's times where I will kind of record stuff and go through it. And then I rewatch it sometimes and I go, am I being too harsh here? Did I convey the points I needed to convey? Did I, did I seem empathetic to the problem? And every once in a long while, I'll have to refilm something or re-record something, but not very often. The good news also is you can trim stuff. So maybe it takes me, it took me 46 minutes to explain all of this. Where did I go wrong? Okay, I got on a tangent here, cut that part out, cut this part out. Now it's 18 minutes, right? And now I can go, here's the meat of what you guys need. You have the ability to pause, which is really nice. So there's some times where something will cross I'm watching emails come in, right? One of them is I have a delivery of 10 pallets of things showing up at my house because we store them in cargo containers here for extra storage, right? And if I saw that update of like, oh my gosh, it's going to be here in 10 minutes during my meeting, I can basically hit pause, go do that, unpause, keep going. So there's a lot of benefits for that to me. It allows me to modularly work because I find most things don't need real-time feedback. So Sarah says, I'm an admin at NASA, so our meetings are by necessity collaborative and decisional. I love your message for project management meetings, but it wouldn't work for my engineers. I don't know. I mean, I work with engineers designing products all the time, and we do the same thing. It's I feel like unless you try it, it seems just like a foreign concept, right? And the things you won't see in that are that people can respond when they're at their best, right? And so instead of, okay, NASA engineers, we're all having a meeting at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? And maybe you've got people that are working remote, maybe they're, supply chain partners or whatever it is. Everyone's got to log in. So someone on the West Coast, it's 5 a.m. They crawled out of bed 22 minutes earlier. They're, nursing some coffee, just got to be here. And when they call my name, okay, yes, I've got this answer, right? Whereas when you present, here's the problem, here's what we're trying to design, all of this, everyone have their go at it, let's get responses in by before end of day. And so that person at 5 a.m., now they're watching and responding and bringing their best maybe at 11 a.m., right? And there are some projects that just have to be real time, right? Like a good example of that sometimes is a critical HR issue, right? That would be one. But even then, a lot of times a recorded video works well. And what you might find also is a lot of things that are getting done in email start getting done in voice or video like this. And that allows people to understand tone, how serious something is, how critical something is, how urgent it is. Just by working with someone over time, you can know where all the time text gets misinterpreted. And so I learned this actually a long time ago in customer service. Whenever anything was you could tell someone's upset, or we have to explain a bad problem. Like we've had if something fails in business, talk to people like you would talk to them one on one almost when you can't. And that way they can see, oh, are they genuinely sorry? Are they angry? Or know that you're not angry, right? And I think it's really nice to be able to show, a lot of times what'll happen is you'll be talking about something and then you'll go, yeah, let me pull that up. And now everyone's just like killing like a minute of their time. You have five people in the room, and they start disengaging. They grab their phone, right? And they're like, okay, let me catch up. While someone's trying to pull some data or something because someone asked a question. So all this time wasting where I can hit a pause button, pull that screen up, get my thought together, record it, keep going. And so you can pause. And that's the good part is, okay, yeah, I probably should have had that ready. Okay, let me get that ready. And but yeah, I'm sure that like there's going to be things that you have to see in person. Like, hey, this thing's on a rocket ship. You see that thing, but I would still probably be able to film it and then pull it up on screen and do a Loom video and have pretty good audio. And things can happen on screen. I can blur stuff out. I can cut. I can paste. I can do all these things. And it also has a mobile app as well if you want to do it by your phone, but I don't feel that is as good as like at a desktop computer. So, um, Sarah says, I do think it's great that it allows everyone to ingest information before they respond, but doesn't it delay decisions? Only if you allow your company to. Like, if you know, someone's got to be in charge, right? If your boss says, I want you to watch this video and have a response within the hour, you have a response within the hour, right? Um, and so people assume it's going to delay things. But I also would say, how often do things need to be with like real-time feedback? So like right now I'm with you guys, real-time feedback. You would say like, this is great. But the reality is I could make this video. No one's in the chat here. You guys watch it on your own time. And then you leave a comment and then I respond and it still works. Rarely do we actually need like real-time feedback. And the thing to know is real-time feedback may not be the best feedback. So it might be, over 25 minutes of thinking about this, I came back with a correct, accurate response that I wanted to reflect instead of a gut reaction. And what I find a lot in business is when you deliver some news no one wants, automatically defensive, right? But if you can deliver that news and then talk with them for a little bit through the video and show them why, how you got there, and be chipper about it and be like, and yeah, please let me know your thoughts on this. Most likely they come around by the end of the video, but at the very beginning, right? At the very beginning, they're nope, not doing this. So yeah, Loom is spelled Loom. And I want to say we pay like a premium subscription or something. It's like $10 a month. It's very affordable, especially for NASA or a company like ours. And yeah, it also we use it. So there's free versions too. We'll use it even with customers, right? So some of the more advanced customers, if you're going, hey, there's a bug on the website, we go, hey, can you download Loom real quick and film what's going on so that we can see it happen? And then again, if this was done in a meeting, like if someone's at my store, right, our retail store, and like, hey, see it broken, don't do things. Then we have to have like a retail employee try to relay that to someone like maybe me, and then I got to relay that to our developer team. But with Loom, you record that thing going down because you just click a button and it starts recording, and then you click another button for them and it stops it, and then they get a link and they can paste that into an email. I get to forward that again to anyone on the team I want. Here's the problem they're having. maybe we should figure out how to solve this in retail so they weren't even on the website, and then maybe also send it to developers, hey, fix that. Um, so yeah, it's how I do meetings though, and it might not be for everything. Like there's still times when in person is great. Um, like definitely HR issues. I wouldn't issue, uh, I basically don't do anything negative around HR in video, right? I will do positive things like, hey, you're getting a raise, here's why. Like I don't have a lot of time, and a lot of this I've now shifted off to other people to do because it probably should be a little more personal than I have time to give it. And so, but especially with remote workers, it's more common than we know. Where I think a lot of people are open to the fact now of remote works. They've been doing it, and then all of a sudden, like, hey, business still works even though we're not all sitting in an office. And so, I don't think I've been in lots of Zoom calls and that kind of stuff. I detest those because what I hate is people having bad audio, interruptions. Oh, I clicked a button, my screen's not sharing. All of this is wasting everybody's time. And it's not 100% like, oh, we're paying for these minutes. There is some of that, but it's mostly like if I gave you the same, if three people are going to be in a meeting and we're all going to do a 1 hour meeting, and if I give everybody 1 hour to do the same work, but I tell them, all right, we're all going to film a piece, right? And we're all going to film our 10 minutes on what we think about what's going on this thing. Everyone spends 30 minutes, right, preparing for whatever they're gonna their thoughts and maybe I need HR on this issue, I need a manager on this issue, and I need me on this issue, right? Everyone kind of explain what you know about the situation, what you think the right outcome is, and all of that. And then after all of that's done, you now have the chance to maybe I'm the decision maker. I do another quick little video and go, here's where we're going. Or maybe it's a one-liner of like, yep, X person, you're correct. We're going to go with that one. And everyone still spent the same hour, but now each person had 30 minutes to prep in that hour instead of sitting and listening and trying to react. And everyone's opinion usually changes. So, if you're listening to your boss and your boss is like, well, I know the one thing we're not going to do, all of a sudden, if you were going to suggest that, you're not suggesting that. So you don't get true opinions anymore, and there's a lot of bias. So, um, yeah, that's the way. And I thought now I should probably start giving some context because I haven't given a lot of context in the past, and I guess I see other financial people or business people do it, and I think it does matter because I don't put a lot of faith in like, oh yeah, it's like here's how you run this business and all of that, and there's only 12,000 subscribers on this channel, right? Or like there's no metric to go like, am I running a lemonade stand and I made $1.52 last year, or are we running our company with 35 employees? And so I thought, like last year we did $11 million in gross. So we've spent lots of money on things, on product, on employees, on mistakes. That doesn't mean Cory took home $11 million. Far from that. I did fine, like no doubt, right? But that way you can go, okay, like we spent in 2020, right? 2 years ago, I spent $250,000 on our website, and it's kind of still a train wreck, right? So you learn, you try things, you go, that's not getting the result we want. And like right now I'm trying to hire a great email marketing person. I've already tried about 100, well, I mean not 100K, like, well, with the other agencies, yeah, I'm already $100,000 into broken systems and bad promises and finding people that like, well, if you're not just gonna just discount your product, like, how do you even form an email to get people to buy? And it's like, that's exactly what I started with this. And especially with those, every day, there's probably 30 or 40 people like, can I just get 15 minutes of your time? Let me pitch you our service. Let me buy you a coffee. Let me do this. And we'll drown in that kind of stuff. So I just don't do it. I will reach out to someone else. And usually I'll just shoot them a video first. And if they can't come back with, everyone always goes, well, let's hop on a call. And I lose money the minute I start hopping on a call. If you can't explain your benefits and answer my questions through email, I already know going down the road, I'm not going to hop on a call every time. That's never happening. So, all right. So meetings crazy, and I try not to do as many of them. Like I try to limit it to probably per week, like Loom videos and all of that, like a couple a day, which kind of is a lot, but it keeps all the different teams moving, and I've been compartmentalizing it a lot more. So I think I'm down to 6 people underneath me. So I have like 6 direct report type of people, I think. Might be a little more still, but I keep trying to offload like, do I need to be overseeing this, or can I have someone else oversee it that I already oversee? And then I trust, I trust like everyone in my company do like amazing jobs. So it's mostly like, do I think they can report back to me what the meeting they have? And Randy, different guy than I am, right? So number two in my company, he has meetings all the time with people. He likes that one-on-one, and he gets stuff done in a way I don't as well. But also, I he does an insane amount of work, and so do I. I just work differently. Like I know that he kind of gets into his zone and he does what he does, and he can get through it with people. Where literally right here, right now, I mean, I guess can I show all of this? Yeah, I could basically show all this. I think I can flip the screen around. I have three 42-inch monitors for my office, right? Let me see if I can flip that around. Yeah, so here, this one, like I was watching kind of the future of live streaming and learning about TikTok stats, how much Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch were growing. I've got, your guys' chat going here, which is like whatever my main work is, and then kind of emails hanging out over here. And each one's got like a billion tabs and all that kind of stuff. And so that's my normal work mode. My old office uh, had nine, no, not nine, 7 screens, right? And so I might have shipping orders up, I might have Excel spreadsheets, I might have other data. Yesterday, I needed to cleanse 40,000 kind of dummy accounts from our web system, right? And so while I'm waiting for that to churn, and I need to do more work on it, I'm working on other things, but I need to keep that in the corner of my eye, going, when that finishes, I need to move to the next task. And yeah, like even that, when I filmed a Loom video about doing that kind of stuff and the implications and how stuff could possibly break and to watch out for. And here's the signs to let me know if things are breaking for Candy, kind of while I was doing all that. So, all right. And by the way, for meetings, I tried to be that meeting person. Like, yeah, let's get the whole team on board. And it wasn't for me. I don't know if I didn't have enough time, if I didn't see part of it, I didn't see the value in doing it that way. And so like the meetings kind of go on with other people now because it literally is not for me. I don't have that time. And so on the YouTube schedule, the flights, it's hard enough for me to do my normal business stuff. Like, oh, I gotta be live, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And like, oh, I had to get on a plane on Friday morning, right? And then I'm not back till basically Monday morning. And then I had horrible jet lag. So I wasn't even back in the saddle till about noon that day. And yeah, like tomorrow I'll be out of pocket where, I'll be filming all day pretty much. And so I don't really get to do standing meetings. The only one I do is that Monday. I lock down Monday to go, hey, let's not schedule anything too crazy. Let's do meetings. The other meetings I guess I have are with my personal trainer a couple times a week. So, but they're not really like meetings where they're training or working out or whatever. I agree, meetings can hold some members hostage. Some people in the company work for really need in-person meeting almost as a way to stay up to date with colleagues and not get burnt out solo. Yeah, we've experienced that where we've got remote work members who feel kind of left out without that interpersonal connection. Where me, I'm kind of just like a robot of, imagine a conveyor belt of like problems in work just coming at me, and I'm just working through them, working through them, working through them. I might be super upset about something on the next one, and then literally my brain just goes, and next, or super happy, like, good job, next. Like I literally just, like, I can go, wow, this is amazing over here. We made a bunch of money, and this is on fire. And so now, I watch people I work with, it's just like, they cannot handle that. They're like, how could you only celebrate for about 2.5 seconds? And then also, how are you not still upset about that thing? And it's like, I just have to move on. If I get stuck on something, stuff doesn't get done. So, have non-work distractions ever been a struggle for you, and how do you handle staying focused through the day? Um, have they been a problem for me? No, I pretty much engross myself in work so that there's not really anything that comes at me that's not a non-work distraction. I never I never give my phone number out, and I never answer the phone either. The only time would have to be like a direct family member, my wife, my mother, my grandma, something like that. Because any of those people calling me, they know enough to know something's wrong, right? They don't call. They know, don't call me. I could be filming. I could be doing any of this stuff, right? And then email, I've got a couple of different emails, but I filter everything through Candy. So I met tons of people at Aquashella conference I'm at, and they go, how do I get a hold of you? I go, well, first, you're not. Second, you're going to send it to my general like customer service thing, and it's going to start filtering through layers. And if what you say is good enough, it'll get passed to the next person. If you say, if they think I need to see it, I will see it. Because every day there's someone to pitch new products, new ideas, and if you let that stuff bombard you, you'll never get anything meaningful done. And so sometimes I'll give people like the pass and I go, look, you got to email Candy and you got to say, I talked to Cory at X event about this. He said to say this phrase, which will let Candy know straight to Cory with that one. Um, and that's where I'm like, okay, yes, I had a talk. It was meaningful. We really do need to press forward with this. But most times I will just say like, most like even Aquashella, the conference where I'm like, no, you don't talk to me. You talk to Zenzo. A lot of our manufacturers are like, no, no, you don't talk to me. You talk to Randy. Randy will then talk to me because Randy will have extracted everything I'm going to want to know over the course of an hour, and he's going to distill it down with me in 5 minutes. So that's why I pay these people to make sure that 5 minutes, 5 minutes of my time is an hour of their time, which is maybe people under them, it was 5 hours of their time, right? That's one of the ways at the top you can do more with your time, even though you have no time. So, all right. How do you stay focused on what you need to do when your schedule is so hectic? We use I guess a board called Monday.com. And basically one of the things I do use a lot is a lot of times do I have one up right now? Yeah, I don't even know why. I can't even tell you why this says this right now. I think it was part of a meeting I had the other day. But like right over here, let me flip this camera around. Like I have Notepad open, just chilling. It says Facebook/forum posts, etc. So I know I was making a list of something. I don't remember what at the time now, but I always have Notepad open. I always have Monday.com open, which lets you just kind of work on things, and it's kind of like Asana. It's like Trello. It's like a lot of these kind of organizational things. And then I also always have Google Calendar, and I live and die by my calendar. I'm one of those people. And so basically, everybody knows, my wife included, if it's not on the calendar, it ain't happening. Which means, you could be like, my wife could be like, it's my birthday tomorrow. Like, and I would know this, right? But let's just use an extreme example. And I'd be like, well, it wasn't on the calendar and I booked this, so I got to do it now. And we know, and there's been some times where like, oh, but can't we just do it? I'm like, there's something else on the calendar. We have to go by the calendar, otherwise I can't function. And so if things don't make it to a calendar, that's where things get forgotten, things get dropped, things get double booked. And so it's also why I never have time off because I simply just look at my calendar and like today is kind of a blank slate. So I know, all right, I'm going to be hitting up all the things I haven't had time to get to. I need to go buy an aquarium so I have something to film one of these days. I need to, like last night I was like, oh, I need to work on hiring email marketing type person. I kind of really want to do a video or a live stream for this channel. All of these things are going to happen knowing, okay, tomorrow's filming, Saturday's this, Sunday's that. And as things start, building in, it gets more and more hectic. So, yeah, I mean, yesterday, like the things that are on my schedule were a game expansion release I didn't get to play. 11 a.m. I had a meeting about our LED light that we're launching, the packaging, and we're still a long ways away about that. Then I had to work out with my trainer from 12:30 to 2 basically, and then I had to shower and do all that. And then at 2:30, I had to start submitting personal taxes because our corporate return is almost done. Which awesome story. My personal tax return, someone filed taxes under our social security number. So we can't file online this year. We have to physically send it in. And I had to get involved with the IRS going, no, we haven't filed yet. My corporate return for our business isn't even done yet. There's no way I would have filed. But before I had to email accountants, they're like, did someone accidentally put the launch signal in? And no one did. So, um, so now it's just another train wreck. And so now it's like, well, we should make sure they didn't steal our credit cards. Like, what else could have happened? Katie's going to work on that for us, my wife. Um, yeah. I'm starting an LLC shipping fish. What credit card and bank account would you recommend? Uh, it's going to depend on your credit scores and things. The best credit card that we can get a hold of, we have awesome credit ratings. We don't have any debt, that kind of stuff. We get 2% back on everything we purchase. And before we were not managing, manufacturing our own products, when we were buying from lots of wholesalers and vendors and things, 2% back might have been 40 to 80 grand a year. So when you start thinking about cash back in those ways, and I never understand, I've got business associates who are like, I love the miles. I get to fly wherever I want, whatever I want to do. And their business is right. And like this credit card I use for travel all the time. This is actually my personal one. I also have a business one. This gets me into lounges like the Centurion Lounge, and there's some different perks. Like it's expensive. It's an expensive card. You get $200 travel credits every year. You get some good protections while traveling, all that kind of stuff. And like that one though, I just get points, and the points are terrible compared to getting 2% cash back in your business. That is way better. Now, there'll be people that would argue like, oh, well, you don't have to claim the points that you're getting, and you could be buying trips. Like technically, you're supposed to claim those rewards points when they're redeemed for value. Oh, do we still have no sound? Let me know if there's still no sound. Um, Hopefully it's back. Okay, it's working for David. Good. Sorry. I'll try to make sure my wake up alarm is is not a problem next time. But those rewards, technically, whether you redeem an iPad, whether you redeem a plane ticket, whatever it is, you're supposed to pay taxes on anyway if you're doing it correct. So, but 2%, and you might go, well, my credit rating's only giving me 1.5% or 1% or something like that. So I would recommend getting whatever card is going to give you the best raw cash back. That's what I would do. Um, yeah, I don't know how I could. Let me think how I could maybe resync this. Let me try turning the camera back and forth. See if that helps at all. Turn it there. Oh, I've got one other idea too. Let me try taking the earpods out, and we'll see if that tells it. So now it's probably echoey in here because there's like nothing in this room, and we'll let that sit for a second, and then I'll put my AirPods back in. But as far as the banks go, find. So I made this mistake in business actually. I went with a local credit union. Our personal finances were there. It made sense. Like they already know my history. It's easy. All of those things, and then as we got bigger, right? So the problem I ran into is the uh, the first credit card we ever got was only a $10,000 limit, and which was fine at the start of business, right? And then as we kept growing, they would never increase it, never ever. So much so that I finally like just canceled that account like 6 months ago because we hadn't used it in like 4 or 5 years at that point. Um, but So the credit union I had wouldn't go past $10,000, while meanwhile, the Capital One card that we had, we have $140,000, right? And we have dedicated associates, and they're always emailing like, "How can we help you spend more money?" But that credit union was also my bank for the business, and it was fine until we got to the point where we had bookkeepers and accountants. Then all of a sudden, you needed an organization big enough to give extra logins. So, for instance, like my right hand man Randy, he's got a login, right? Our bookkeeper has a login. I think my wife might have a login, and different permissions and all of that, and you can set limits and do all of these things. Um, but we didn't have that capability at all, and I wasn't going to be like, sure, you can log in, not random bookkeeper, but like as much as I trust people, it's never a good idea to be like, what if they went crazy tomorrow and they're like, yeah, let's take that $500,000 in cash and just run, and no one can stop me. So you always want to limit things. And even though like I might okay Randy to do $100,000 wire transfer, it can't be done without my signature, like an e-signature, right? So like after certain thresholds, like even though he does them all the time, not all the time, that's not a true statement, but even though he does it enough that it's not like a weird thing, over thresholds, we make you do that. And so that way it's almost like a double sign off. And so I would recommend who's treated me really well is Chase. Um, and we have enough money in the corporate accounts and all of that we get like whatever their like top tier status is, which basically just means like we're not going to screw you like most banks will. Like that being said, I still pay way too much money for wire transfers and other stuff that they probably should just be like, yeah, you got a lot of money sitting here. We'll just look the other way so it's funny. If I had well, I do have my personal account there, but I never need to do wire transfers out of my personal accounts, right? Maybe if I was buying a house or something, maybe. But even then, you do cashier's checks. But if I wire transfer $100,000 to a vendor out of my personal account, the first four of them every month are free. Out of the business account, none are free, and every wire transfer is $40. So most months we have somewhere between $400 and $600 in wire transfer fees. Um, but they've been pretty easy to deal with, and we get a like I don't know like a business partner number or something. I've never needed to call it. They send us like some peanuts for Christmas or whatever, and that's what I think the good is. If you have something that you're using all the time and you don't need to use their customer service, probably just means their product's working decent. All right. Yeah, what if people that had access to my account got hacked? Yeah, there is yeah, so whether someone goes rogue, whether someone gets hacked, we've had that kind of stuff happen too. Not often, but we've had that kind of stuff happen. And but that's why you limit your possible this is hilarious actually. I actually have um my other American Express right here too. So this is Delta, my Delta American Express, and that gets me to like this one for business. By the way, just if you spend $250,000 on it a year, you get platinum status while you fly with Delta or whatever airline you're choosing, right? And so by having that, that allows me extra things like getting employees into the Delta Lounge for free, buying some companion tickets for business associates for free. Um, but in business at a level we're at, you start spending so much money in places that you go, hey, if we spend $250,000 over here, we spend this over here, we do it this way, we start getting perks. And when you mix those perks together, they start giving you like other things I get like a TSA pre-check every 5 years, like that subscription for free. I get Clear. So I'm that guy that rolls into the airport, right? And I take the line that's clear, so I get to go to the front, and then I have TSA pre-check, so I don't got to take 400 cameras and laptops out of all the bags and stuff, and so I just sail right through there to the lounge essentially, and then I get to fly, and so that's really nice. And what you wouldn't know probably, or most people wouldn't know, is that's super important in other countries where you get to go to that lounge in Peru because if you've ever been to the Peruvian airports, and then you go, wait, I could be in a lounge, even though the lounge is like not like, China's got an amazing lounge. The buffet is like people are like, how is that like a couple $100? This place is insane. Um, but yeah, so if you're doing lots of international travel and that kind of stuff, these things start making sense. Now that being said, it's not good. Like this card, this platinum card, I think literally up to like $785 a year fee. But if you utilize all the perks, so like with the platinum card, I get $15 every month for Uber or Uber Eats. I get a $15 credit for media, so like HBO and Netflix and stuff like that. $200 credit towards any airline I choose. Um, and if you utilize some of these things, the goal is that it's free. So, sometimes I'll fly into an airport and there's no Delta lounge. So you go to the Centurion lounge. Sometimes there's free gifts at the Centurion lounge, like, oh, I got this USB speaker or something, right? So yeah, all of that stuff. But that doesn't really, help you start a business. That's more maximizing when your business is already kind of going. But I would recommend choose one of the probably larger banks with a lot of branches. Another thing I hadn't anticipated, like with our retail store, we kind of set up. So usually you're setting up financing and everything when you're getting the business going, but we didn't have a location or anything yet because you're getting all the paperwork and you got to set up business accounts. And then it turns out that the closest bank to my retail store for that credit union was not close. It was in another city. And so it really was a pain in the butt. And that's what led to us stopping taking cash in the retail store when we need to go get change. We need to deposit, every night or a couple nights with the cash. It was a real pain in the butt. And so we ended up moving to a bank that was really close to our retail store. And now if we had needed something, it's like a 4-minute drive. It's real quick. So those are some of the things that I would think about. And yeah, all right. Hopefully, did the delay or anything get better? I hope it did. What challenges arose when transitioning from, let's see, managing day to day to delegating key admin and business development tasks? How do you know when to step back and let others step up? It's kind of like a relationship. There's a lot of trust there, and you also have to know that you're going to lose a lot of money. You have to let some people make big mistakes because when they make that big mistake, then they feel the ramifications of like, why? Oh, we're still delayed. All right, I'm just gonna restart this. I'm gonna restart another one because it doesn't make sense to keep going if it's still desync. So in like 30 seconds, I'm gonna start a new one and just come to that one. Let me end this one though. And I guess we better give it time long enough so that it actually will